Have you ever felt like you're playing second fiddle in your own life? Always putting others first, always compromising, trying to please everyone, only to realize no one's really doing the same for you. You wake up, scroll through your phone, and see everyone else's lives looking so perfect, so glamorous, always better than yours. You frantically chase an unclear ideal, getting lost in the crowd, losing yourself without even noticing. Every day you work, talk, laugh, but inside there's an emptiness, a feeling that you're living someone else's life, not your own. This isn't your fault. It's the result of a world that teaches you your worth depends on external validation. But Stoic philosophy doesn't preach that. Epictetus once said, "If you want to be free, don't let yourself depend on the approval or gaze of others. You are the only one who can allow yourself to stand tall, hold your head high, and live true to your essence." Life doesn't owe you anything, but you owe yourself clarity, discipline, and self-respect. This is the moment to wake up, not next year, not when you achieve something grand. Right now. As you read these words, your life can take a new direction if you dare to put yourself first. Pause for a few seconds, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, am I living the life I've chosen, or am I just reacting to the pressures of others? If these words strike a chord somewhere deep inside you, hit the like button on this video to mark the moment you begin your journey back to yourself. And don't forget to subscribe, because what comes next isn't just philosophy, it's a clear roadmap for living, showing you how to act, change, and move forward. Section 1. Your mind is hijacked. You wake up in the morning, and the first thing you do is reach for your phone. Not to meditate, not to journal or exercise, but to open social media, scroll through short videos, read negative news, or check who just liked your latest post. You haven't even started your day, but your mind is already hijacked. Before you can ask yourself how you want to live today, the world drowns you in 100 nameless noises, and you just get swept along. This isn't just a bad habit, it's a sophisticated invasion. You're no longer in control of your mind. Every modern tech platform is designed to keep you engaged for as long as possible, disconnecting you from yourself as deeply as possible. Those algorithms don't care about your peace, ideals, or life goals. They just want you to click more, watch more, crave attention more. The result? You lose the ability to be still with yourself. You lose focus. You get irritable. You feel confused without knowing why. And worse, you start living a programmed life, where every decision is shaped by comparison, fear of missing out, and the need for validation. Stoic philosophy is crystal clear on this. Epictetus said, "It's not events that cause you distress, but your thoughts about those events." In other words, if you can't control your thoughts, the world will control your emotions, actions, and ultimately your life. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "Your mind will become what you frequently expose it to." If you constantly let your mind drown in trivial, negative, or meaningless things, don't expect to live a noble, self-disciplined, purposeful life. Ask yourself, when was the last time you had uninterrupted time to think, to write down what you want, what you fear, what you're avoiding? When was the last time you sat in silence and observed the flow of your thoughts? If you can't remember, you're not in control of your life. Your mind has been hacked, and the worst part is, you might not even realize it. Taking back control starts with awareness. You need to wake up each day with a personal ritual, one that doesn't involve social media or reacting to the world. You need to create mental space to write down what you're grateful for, what you need to improve, and what you'll act on today. You need to train your mind like a muscle, starting with controlling your attention. Anything that doesn't help you grow is holding you back, and that often starts with what you let into your mind every morning. You might be thinking, but I can't quit social media. I need it for work or to stay connected. Fair enough. The issue isn't whether you use it, it's who's in control. Are you using it, or is it using you? You can use technology as a tool, but never let it become the master of your mind. Schedule your social media time. Set specific hours for checking messages or emails. Turn off unnecessary notifications. And most importantly, start your day with you, not with the world's invasion. A simple practice many modern Stoics use is morning journaling. Just 5 to 10 minutes a day to write down 3 things you want to focus on, 1 thing you're grateful for, and 1 challenge you're ready to face. You'll see your mind gradually return to your control. This isn't a one-time fix. It's a practice, like any martial art or craft. And like physical training, the more consistent you are, the stronger you get. Today, you can start with small actions. Put your phone down when you wake up. Spend 5 minutes breathing or in silence. Write down 1 thing you're avoiding. Disconnect from the world to reconnect with yourself. This isn't escaping reality, it's preparing for it. A clear mind is the foundation for a purposeful life. You can't soar if your mind is always cluttered with junk. If this section resonates with you, hit the like button to affirm, "My mind is mine." Leave a comment saying, "I'm taking back my focus," as a small commitment to yourself. And don't forget to subscribe, because the journey to mastering yourself is just beginning. And the next part will guide you to avoid the greatest waste in life, time. Section 2. You're wasting your time without realizing it. There's a painful truth most of us only realize too late. You don't lack time, you're just wasting it. It sounds simple, but if you stop and examine how you spend your 24 hours each day, you'll see how alarming this is. You say you're busy, you complain there's no time to read, learn new skills, exercise, or chase your dreams. But ask yourself, how many hours did you spend mindlessly scrolling social media? How many minutes slip away each day in procrastination, distraction, or unfocused work? How many evenings did you rest by watching videos late into the night, only to wake up tired and empty? Seneca, one of the greatest Stoic philosophers, said, "We don't lack time, we spend it as if we're immortal." That's not just philosophy, it's a wake-up call. Time is the one resource you can never get back. You can lose money and earn it again. You can make mistakes and fix them. But an hour gone is gone forever from your life. Every second that passes never returns. So why do we live as if we have infinite time? The problem is most people don't realize they're wasting time. They don't see that every meaningless conversation, every delayed decision, every choice of comfort over discipline is a piece of their life slipping away. They don't understand that living slowly doesn't mean living lazily, and being busy doesn't mean living with purpose. The modern world convinces us that running faster, doing more, checking emails constantly is a sign of success. But if you're running in circles, speed only wears you out faster. In letters to Lucilius, Seneca advised his young friend to audit time like the wealthy audit their assets. Look back at the past week. How much time did you spend on something truly meaningful? How many hours did you invest in your growth? How many moments did you use to ask yourself, am I living the life I want? Or are you just living in reaction mode, working because you're forced to, eating out of boredom, entertaining yourself to escape? The greatest danger isn't knowing you're wasting time, it's not realizing it at all. This subtle waste, like a leak in a wall, quietly erodes the foundation of who you are. Then one day, you wake up and realize years have passed and you're still in the same place. No new skills, no deeper wisdom, no stronger mind, and you don't have time to start over. You don't need to do something huge today, but you need to start. 1 hour a day to learn, read, or train. 30 minutes each evening to write down what you learned, felt, or need to change. Don't think, what can 1 hour do? 1 hour a day is 365 hours a year, over 15 full days to improve yourself, build a new foundation, and elevate your life. But that only happens if you recognize the true value of each moment. Many wait until illness strikes to value time. They wait until a loved one is gone to cherish moments together. They wait until a relationship breaks to learn to listen and change. Stoics don't wait. They live each day as if it could be their last, not out of fear, but to live with meaning. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his journal, "You have the power to refuse to rush." Live as if every action is your last. Every morning he reminded himself today might be his final chance to live fully. So he did what was right, no matter how small. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be aware and act. When you're about to procrastinate, pause and ask, does this move me toward where I want to be? If not, cut it out. When you're caught in pointless chatter or mindless content, ask, could I use this time to live better? If yes, get up and walk away. When you're tempted to say, I'll do it later, remind yourself that later doesn't exist. There's only now. If you've ever lived in a haze about time, said, I'll figure it out tomorrow, or thought, I'm still young, that's okay. You don't need to blame yourself. You just need to start over today. Leave a comment saying, I value my time as a commitment. Hit the like button if you're ready to make every hour of your life count. And if you want more content to awaken you like this, don't forget to subscribe, because the next part will show you how to let results speak for you, not excuses. Section 3. Let the results speak. In a world where everyone is clamoring to be heard, sometimes silence carries the most weight. Everyone wants recognition, applause, praise. They share every tiny moment of their lives on social media, hoping for external validation. They talk about their goals, their plans, their dreams, but few quietly work, persistently pursue, and let their results speak for themselves. That's the biggest difference between those who live by Stoic principles and those caught in the illusion of progress. Stoic philosophy doesn't teach you to boast, it teaches you to act. It holds that words are cheap without concrete action. Epictetus said, don't talk about philosophy, live it. Meaning lies not in what you declare, but in what you show through your daily actions. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor ruling a vast empire, didn't write his journal for others to read. He wrote to refine his thoughts, to improve himself daily, to quietly live with greater kindness, patience, and strength. He understood an eternal truth. True value doesn't need advertising because results speak for you. You might say you're trying, but if others can't see growth in you over time, maybe you're not trying hard enough. You might claim you're working hard, but if your results stay stagnant, you could be doing it wrong or fooling yourself with busyness. You might think you're changing, growing, but instead of saying it, let others feel it through how you act. The calm you maintain when things get chaotic. The persistence you show when no one's watching. The world doesn't lack people who talk well. It desperately needs people who do well. Those who work quietly while others complain. Those who keep moving forward through obstacles instead of blaming circumstances. Those who build value instead of just an image. Those who know the most lasting recognition comes not from others, but from the pride you feel when you look at yourself and know you've lived right, even if no one applauds. There's a quiet but formidable strength in those who don't need to say much. Have you ever met someone whose mere presence creates a positive pressure? Not because they're loud, but because you know they live with discipline, work hard, keep their word, and don't complain. They don't need to prove anything. They are the proof. That's the Stoic ideal. Not shouting, I'm important, but living in a way that their presence says enough. When you master letting results speak, you stop rushing to join every argument. You don't need to respond to every criticism. You don't need to post every achievement online to seek validation that you're on the right path. Because you know, and those who observe closely will know, you're moving forward. Truth speaks louder than any excuse, and results are undeniable proof of your commitment. Stoics don't say you must stay silent forever. They say act first, prove later. If you haven't achieved something clear yet, focus on doing, not talking. If you started a journey of change, persist quietly, and one day you won't need to explain. Your transformation will be so evident, it needs no words. I know in this age, living quietly is hard. Everything pushes you to share, to overshare, to constantly prove your worth. But that's exactly why those who work in silence stand out. You don't need to hide. You just need to stop obsessing over showing off. Let your results be your loudest statement. Let your consistency be your boldest declaration. Let your personal change be the clearest evidence that you're living well. Look back. In the past week, how much time did you spend actually working? What percentage of your actions went toward a specific goal? How many times did you say something but not follow through? No need to blame yourself, but you need to be honest. Only when you're honest with yourself can you truly transform. Every unfulfilled promise erodes your self-trust. Over time, you lose one of the most precious things, self-confidence. From today, shift your question from, "What do others think of me?" to "What am I doing for myself?" Replace "How do I make them see I'm good?" with "How do I become someone I respect?" When you live by internal standards, not external ones, you stop wavering. You don't need to shout. You don't need to prove, because you're acting every day. If what I'm sharing resonates with your journey, like this video as a quiet promise to yourself that from now on, your actions will speak louder than words. If you're quietly working, changing, rebuilding your life from the ruins, leave a comment saying, "My results will speak for me." Don't forget to subscribe to keep following the next parts, where we'll learn how to choose who you surround yourself with, because your environment shapes who you become. Section 4. Surround yourself with giants. You can't soar if you're surrounded by people who only pull you down. You can't think big if every day you're listening to complaints, blame, or gossip. The environment you live in, the people you interact with, and the energy you're exposed to daily profoundly shape how you think, act, and ultimately become. One of the simplest yet most powerful life-changing principles is this: you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. This isn't a cliche. It's a law of energy and mindset resonance. If you're serious about your personal growth, you must ask yourself this uncomfortable question: who am I surrounding myself with? Even as an emperor, Marcus Aurelius never stopped being grateful for the teachers and friends who shaped his character. In Meditations, he dedicated the opening section to thanking those who positively influenced him: the one who taught him patience, the one who showed him how to handle injustice, the one who inspired him to live simply and with integrity. This shows that even someone as powerful as him knew he couldn't rise alone. He needed strong, noble, clear-minded people around him to guide him when his mind grew cloudy. So if you want to live like a Stoic, with depth, clarity, and purpose, you can't ignore the human factor. Actively build a circle of positive influence. Seek out people who surpass you in discipline, thinking, knowledge, and composure. Don't fear being the weakest in the group. That's a good sign. If you're always the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Find giants, people who don't brag, but whose actions force you to rethink yourself. Humble yet powerful people, those who don't preach principles but live them. Being around them isn't comfortable at first, but it's essential for your growth. That said, this doesn't mean you must cut off everyone who pulls you down, but you need to control the dosage. Just as you can't eat junk food every day and expect a healthy body, you can't constantly engage with negative people and expect a peaceful mind. Subtly reduce time spent on relationships that drain your energy. If you can't avoid them entirely, set boundaries. Don't let kindness turn into weakness. Don't let politeness become self-sacrifice. Another way to surround yourself with giants is through books. When you can't directly access great people, let their ideas guide you. Marcus Aurelius, Seneca, and Epictetus left behind treasures of wisdom you can tap into anytime. They can be your mentors if you make time to converse with them through their pages. Think about it. You can read the deepest reflections of an emperor, the direct advice of a philosopher who lived as a slave, or the thoughts on death, fame, and purpose from someone who saw the heights of power. No one can take those great encounters from you if you seek them out. You can also shape a positive environment through the content you consume daily. Clean your social media of toxic, meaningless, comparison-driven posts. Follow channels, people, and platforms that expand your mind, remind you to live consciously, and inspire action. The internet isn't your enemy. It reflects who you are through what you choose to engage with. Make it a gym for your mind, not a landfill for procrastination. Never underestimate the power of your environment. A good seed in poor soil can't grow into a strong tree, but an average seed, nurtured with light, water, and nutrients, can thrive. You are that seed. The people around you are the soil, water, and climate. Choose carefully, If these words make you think of people you should limit or others you should connect with more, act on it. Like this video if you agree that your environment shapes your mind more than you realize. Leave a comment saying, "I'll choose who I surround myself with," as a first step to rebuilding your circle of influence. And if you're looking for a place to encounter positive ideas, deep reminders, and clear guidance for living, don't forget to subscribe. We'll continue with the next part, where you'll learn to simplify your mind and clear the chaos within. Section 5. Practice mental minimalism. In an increasingly noisy, information-saturated world, mental clarity is as precious as gold. You might live in a tidy physical space, but your mind could resemble a dusty room cluttered with nameless junk. You pile in too many worries, too many unresolved thoughts, too many memories you haven't let go of. The scariest part? You might be so used to it that you don't even notice you're living in a state of mental chaos, clutter, and chronic exhaustion. That's why mental minimalism, simplifying your mind, is something Stoics never take lightly. Mental minimalism isn't about eliminating thoughts. It's about carefully choosing what you give your attention to. Just as you can't keep every item you've ever bought, you shouldn't hold on to every concern, fear, or idea that crosses your mind. Seneca said, "If you're distracted by too many things, you can't control yourself." The fewer distractions you allow, the sharper your focus. The less that occupies your mind, the more energy you have for what truly matters. Look at a typical day. How much of your thinking is about things you can't control? You worry about what others think of you, whether someone dislikes you or if something bad might happen. You consume too much negative news, get sucked into pointless arguments, obsess over things beyond your reach. That doesn't make you wiser, it just tangles you up. Stoics don't let themselves fall into that trap. They know that what's outside their control doesn't deserve space in their mind. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "You can eliminate most of what disturbs your mind by simplifying your thoughts." What he meant is that peace doesn't come from avoiding life, but from organizing how you respond to it. When you focus only on what you can control, your mind becomes lighter, clearer, and naturally calm. You don't need to meditate all day to achieve this. You just need to know what's worth your energy and what isn't. To practice mental minimalism, start by cleaning up your mental environment. That means limiting the information you take in daily. You don't need to know everything. You don't need constant updates on drama, chaos, or trends. The less you know about irrelevant things, the more room you have for what matters. Curate the content you read, the videos you watch, the podcasts you listen to as carefully as you choose your food. Your mind digests information like your body digests food. What you feed it shapes its quality. Next, learn to close the tabs in your mind. Ever feel like your brain is running dozens of windows at once? An unfinished project, an unresolved conversation, a task you meant to do, a lingering fear you haven't named. These take up massive mental space, leaving you exhausted without knowing why. Writing down everything open in your head is the first step to regaining control. Once identified, sort them. What to tackle now, what to schedule later, what to let go. Another way to practice mental minimalism is to simplify your goals. Sometimes you feel overwhelmed not because you're too busy, but because you're trying to achieve too much at once. You want to excel at work, be physically fit, think deeply, be charismatic, and create art, all quickly. But Stoics teach there's nothing nobler than playing your role well in each moment. Instead of juggling everything, pick one main goal for the day and pour your mind into it. When you do one thing well, you gain the confidence and energy for the next. Mental minimalism isn't a project, it's a way of life. Every day you'll face hundreds of things vying for your attention. Texts, emails, notifications, conversations, emotions, expectations. Without clear principles, you'll become a slave to them all. But if you know what matters most to you, you'll find the courage to say no to the rest. In that refusal, you find freedom. If you've been living with a crowded mind, let today be the day you start differently. Like this video if you believe mental simplicity leads to powerful action. Leave a comment saying, "I choose simplicity," as a commitment to live clearer from within. And if you want to keep learning how to live lighter yet deeper, don't forget to subscribe. The next part will help you face discomfort and uncover what you need to change most in yourself. Section 6. Does it make you uncomfortable? There's a truth most of us know but try to ignore. Growth is tied to discomfort. Every time you step out of your comfort zone, you touch a new threshold of your resilience. Every time you challenge yourself with something beyond your familiar habits, you enter the territory of unease, anxiety, even fear. But it's at that edge where you feel the most uncomfortable that growth begins. The real question isn't, how do you feel? But does this make you uncomfortable? Because if it does, you're likely on the right path. Stoic philosophy doesn't teach you to seek comfort. Instead, it teaches you to endure, to build inner strength through unfavorable circumstances. Seneca wrote, "We learn courage by facing fear, resilience by living through adversity." This means that what feels discouraging, embarrassing, or stressful, when viewed correctly, is an opportunity to build character, wisdom, and stability. No one becomes strong without first feeling weak. No one finds calm without first facing panic, and no one lives deeply without confronting their own inner shadows. Marcus Aurelius, who lived through war, betrayal, and loss, maintained mental peace not by avoiding reality, but by facing it head-on. In his journal, he wrote, "If it's necessary, if it's part of nature, then there's nothing to fear." He didn't believe in evasion. He believed in confronting, adapting, and rising above what made him uneasy. He didn't ask, "How can things be easier?" but "How can I be stronger in the face of difficulty?" That's the Stoic spirit. Reflect on yourself recently. When was the last time you did something that truly made you uncomfortable? Maybe starting a new project you weren't sure you could handle. Maybe speaking a truth in a relationship you'd kept buried too long. Maybe standing up to speak in front of a crowd, hands shaking, voice catching, or simply putting your phone down and sitting in silence with your tangled, unprocessed thoughts. None of these are pleasant, but that's where you grow. Comfort feels good in the moment, but often leaves lasting regret. Discomfort in the present leads to strength in the future. We choose the easy path not because it's better, but because it's familiar. And that familiarity keeps you stuck. Every time you choose the familiar over the challenging, you deny yourself the chance to expand your capacity. Over time, this creates stagnation, drift, and disorientation, until you wonder, why aren't I moving forward despite trying? The answer, you're trying within your comfort zone, and there, real growth doesn't happen. Mental minimalism gives you clarity, but only by stepping into discomfort can you truly test your strength. Don't fear uncertainty. Don't avoid stress. Learn to live with it, talk to it, listen to it like an old, challenging, yet wise friend. Each time you face what unsettles you, you take a step toward mastering yourself. You're building a foundation that circumstances can't easily shake. One of the most effective Stoic practices is to write down what makes you anxious. Then ask yourself, why does this make me uncomfortable? What's it touching inside me? What am I trying to protect? What am I afraid of losing? When you answer these honestly, discomfort loses its terror. It becomes a signal, a signpost, an invitation to dive deeper into self-understanding. Remember, discomfort isn't your enemy. It's your guide. It shows you where you need to improve. It reveals where you've been stuck too long. It forces you to look up, act, and choose. It's not punishment. It's a call to step into a stronger version of yourself. If this section stirs something in you, like this video as a confirmation that you're ready to walk through discomfort to reach your inner truth, leave a comment saying, "I choose to step into discomfort," as a commitment to yourself. And if you're on a journey to rebuild your inner strength with honesty and courage, subscribe for the next parts, where you'll learn to save energy by not getting dragged into every pointless conflict. Section 7. Not everything deserves your energy. There's a resource more precious than time: energy. You might have an entire day ahead, but without energy to act, you can't accomplish anything meaningful. Energy isn't just physical strength, it's mental focus, emotional state, and the ability to direct your will to the right thing at the right time. Sadly, most of us waste this precious resource daily without realizing it. We burn energy on pointless arguments, impulsive reactions, irrelevant criticism, and relationships that drain rather than nourish. Stoic philosophy never endorses getting entangled in unnecessary conflicts. It teaches you to conserve your life's energy for what's truly worthy. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "You can always choose not to have an opinion. You don't need to react. You don't need to speak. You don't need to act." This isn't apathy, it's wisdom. When you learn that not everything requires a response, you protect yourself from distraction, stress, and pointless depletion. Think back to the last time you got sucked into an argument you later regretted. Maybe someone online said something you disagreed with. Maybe a coworker complained endlessly or a relative was relentlessly negative. You reacted, argued, tried to set them straight, and then what? They didn't change, but you lost your energy, your peace, your time. That's a classic case of investing energy in a place with no return. Worse, it can become a habit, a conditioned reflex that leaves you increasingly exhausted without knowing why. Stoics teach that true strength lies not in how you react, but in your ability to choose when to react and when to stay silent. Not every annoyance needs a response. Not every offense deserves your attention. When you understand your energy's value, you won't let trivial matters steal the calm you've worked so hard to cultivate. You'll filter what's worthy of your mind, worthy of your action, and let the rest go, like someone seasoned enough to know they don't need to prove anything. Practicing this requires high self-awareness. Pause before reacting and ask, is this really worth my concern? Train yourself to step back from provocation, rise above fleeting emotions, and assess situations with reason, not impulse. You might be misunderstood, criticized, or insulted. It's not pleasant, but you don't need to react to affirm your worth. Your value doesn't come from defending yourself. It comes from how you live. You don't need to argue to win. Live well enough, and the truth will shine on its own. You don't need to counter every piece of gossip. Stay consistent, and time will clear things up. You don't need to prove you're right to those who've decided not to listen. That only exhausts you. A clear sign of maturity is knowing what to ignore without feeling weak. You understand some battles don't need winning because you're wise enough not to fight them in the first place. Some people will always be negative, critical, or make things heavier than they need to be. They don't seek truth. They just want to be right. They don't want to understand you. They just want to assert their ego. If you let yourself get pulled into their game, you've let them control your energy. But you can refuse. You can choose to keep your peace. You can walk away without a word. In that silence, you don't lose. You're investing your energy in something worthier. Stoics don't teach you to be cold. They teach you to be clear. Clear about when to speak up for truth and when to stay silent for peace. Clear about who's offering genuine feedback and who's just dumping their negativity on you. Clear about not reacting automatically but with purpose. Clear about not carrying everything in your head, exhausting yourself over what you can't control. Learn to say, "This doesn't deserve my energy," like a protective mantra. Learn to withdraw from spaces that leave you heavier, not lighter. Learn to choose the conversations, issues, and relationships worthy of your precious attention. You can't build a vibrant life if you're constantly cleaning up the mess others leave behind. If you've reacted too quickly, burned out over things that don't matter, or felt swept away without knowing why, that's okay. What matters is starting to take control today. Leave a comment saying, "I choose to save my energy for what's worthy," as a commitment to yourself. Like this video if you agree that not everything deserves your attention. And if you want to keep building a stronger inner life, subscribe for the next part, where you'll learn how to be alone without being lonely. Section 8. Learn to be alone. One of the quietest yet most common fears in modern life is loneliness. We live surrounded by countless connections on social media, hundreds of daily interactions, yet feel adrift when sitting alone. We can message someone with a tap but feel suffocated spending an evening in silence with no one to talk to. Unable to bear the quiet, we fill it with noise, music, videos, meaningless chats, mindless scrolling, even clinging to toxic relationships just to avoid feeling alone. But Stoics want you to understand, being alone isn't emptiness. It's a chance to connect deeply with yourself. Stoic philosophy doesn't see solitude as something to fear. Instead, it's essential for building inner strength. Marcus Aurelius wrote in Meditations, "When you find yourself alone, turn to your own mind. There you'll find the most peaceful refuge." For him, the inner world was the strongest fortress, untouched by others' judgments, where you can clarify your thoughts, refine your actions, and regain balance amidst life's chaos. Quiet isn't the absence of external sound. It's the stillness within, free from turmoil, conflict, or the pressure to be anyone but yourself. When you learn to be alone, you no longer need others to feel complete. You stop relying on their gaze, praise, or attention to define your worth. You begin to see that, at times, solitude is the deepest healing. You realize you don't need a crowd to feel alive. You need your own full presence in every thought, every emotion, every decision. When you can be alone without feeling empty, you enter a new state, inner sufficiency. But getting there means pushing through the initial resistance and discomfort. At first, silence might make you restless. Empty moments might scare you. Your mind will scramble for something to do, watch, or hear to distract itself. You'll feel uneasy without someone to talk to, like you're being left behind. But stay with that discomfort a little longer. Don't run from it. Breathe, observe. In those moments, you start learning the art of being your own friend, a skill few truly master, even among crowds. Seneca said, "If you feel lonely when alone, you're in bad company." It's a sharp but awakening truth. It puts the responsibility back on you. If you can't be alone without feeling empty, you haven't connected with yourself enough. You haven't learned to listen to yourself, understand yourself, or accept your imperfections. Learning to be alone isn't about seeking isolation. It's about building intimacy with your inner self. It's where you ask the real questions. What am I living for? What hurts me? What do I need to let go of? What do I truly want? Not because others say so, but because my heart knows. When you can sit alone and write honestly, talk to yourself without rushing for answers, or feel present without needing a witness, you're healing. You're moving toward the real you, toward a life that doesn't need embellishment, proof, or haste. From that space, you'll know who belongs in your life and who doesn't. You'll stop accepting any presence just to fill a void. You'll discern true connections from false ones, and you'll be strong enough to choose what's right over what's familiar. Here's the surprising part. When you master being alone, you become better at building healthy relationships. You don't seek someone to save you. You don't rely on others to feel complete. You enter relationships whole, not to fill a gap, but to share your fullness. That's the foundation of lasting love, deep friendship, and connections free from the fear of loss. Make space to be alone every day, even just 10 minutes. Turn off your phone, music, external noise, and sit still. Write, meditate, or simply breathe and watch your thoughts pass. It might feel strange at first, but you'll be amazed at what surfaces when the noise stops. Sharp insights, raw emotions, vital questions, all needing silence to be heard. If this section touches something in your heart, like this video as an acknowledgement of the journey you're starting to return to yourself, leave a comment saying, "I'm learning to be alone," as a gentle but profound commitment to yourself. And if you want to keep exploring how to build inner strength, master your mind, and live with awareness, subscribe for the next part, where you'll train your mind like a true warrior. Section 9, train your mind. Your mind is your most powerful weapon, but if you don't train it, it can become your greatest enemy. Like a body left unexercised, an untrained mind grows weak, sluggish, chaotic, and easily swayed by emotions, circumstances, or external noise. No one is born with a strong, clear, calm mind. It's the result of persistent, intentional training. In the Stoic journey, Training your mind is one of the most vital tasks you undertake daily, a non-negotiable part of becoming your highest self. Marcus Aurelius, an emperor navigating political pressure, war, and betrayal, wrote daily to train his mind. He didn't write for others but to align his thoughts, maintain clarity, and master his emotions. His Meditations isn't an academic philosophy book, it's an inner roadmap. Each line a mental push-up to face anger, sadness, the temptations of power, or fears of death. It proves one thing: a strong mind requires training. Left untrained, it's wild, chaotic, easily pulled astray. Trained, it becomes clear, calm, sharp, like a well-forged blade. How do you train it? Start with attention. Your mind is a stream of focus, and if you can't control what you give it to, you're letting the world dictate your life's quality. What you read, hear, watch, and say daily fuels your mind. If you feed it negative, cheap, or meaningless content, don't expect it to make wise choices or act with integrity. If you consume sensationalist drama or toxic news, you're silently poisoning your thinking. The first step in training your mind is managing its inputs. Choose carefully what you allow in. Less but better, slow but deep. That's the first principle. Next, write. Writing is how you dialogue with yourself, untangling the mess of thoughts to see their essence. It turns emotions into words, vagueness into structure, chaos into clarity. Writing doesn't need to be beautiful, long, or eloquent, just honest. Write your fears, your worries, why you procrastinate, your goals for today, what you're grateful for. Write daily like washing your mind's face. It's how you keep from being swept away by trivialities. Another tool is non-judgmental observation. Learn to step back when you feel anger, sadness, anxiety, or excitement. Don't react immediately. Just notice, I'm angry, I'm jealous, I'm disappointed. Naming your emotions is the first step to reclaiming control. Stoics don't teach you to suppress feelings. They teach you to understand and master them. Like a warrior who doesn't flee fear, but studies it, analyzes it, and acts rightly despite it. When you observe emotions without being carried away, you stand in command of your mind. You also need daily habits to train focus. In an age where everything, phone notifications, addictive social media, vies for your attention, sustaining focus is a superpower. Practice by reading a book for at least 20 minutes daily, learning a new skill, or doing one task in a state of complete presence without distraction. When you focus fully on one thing, you're training your brain to resist distraction. That's how you build willpower. A strong mind isn't always positive. It's a mind that can adjust itself, knowing when to step back, push forward, or pause to observe. A strong mind asks the right questions at the right time. Is this in my control? Does this reaction move me closer to my values? Am I acting from emotion or reason? Each good question is a moment you grab the steering wheel of your life. If you've ever lost control, overreacted, dwelled in negativity, or felt your mind tangled like a knot, you're not alone. We've all been there. The difference lies in whether you let it rule you or start training yourself. You don't need to change everything in a day. One small, repeated action, writing, reading, meditating, focusing, observing, is enough to build a new foundation for your mind. If this section sparks a desire to train your mind stronger, like this video as an affirmation that you're on the path to mastering yourself, leave a comment saying, "I'm training my mind," as a first step from passivity to agency. And if you want more tools, philosophy, and practical guidance to elevate your inner life, subscribe. The next part will show you that sometimes you don't need to think anymore. You just need to act. Section 10, just do it. There comes a point in life when you need to stop thinking and start doing. Not because you're fully ready, not because everything's perfect, but because the only way forward is to begin. Stoic philosophy emphasizes that action is the core of all noble thought. Seneca said, "Don't waste time debating what a good man is. Be one." And Marcus Aurelius, amid the chaos of politics and war, reminded himself, "It's not what you say that defines you, but what you do." Ultimately, what separates those who talk from those who live lies in action. You may have read a lot, reflected a lot, planned a lot, but without action, you're still at the starting line. Action doesn't need to be perfect. It just needs to happen. An email sent, a journal entry written, a call made, a few minutes of exercise, a page read. These small acts are life itself. Nothing replaces the feeling of breaking through procrastination and touching the real flow of existence. In the moment you act, you're no longer a dreamer or a doubter. You're someone living truly. We often wait. Wait for enough motivation. Wait for the right circumstances. Wait for a surge of emotion. But Stoics don't wait. They act even when they don't feel ready. They know action creates positive feelings, not the other way around. You don't need inspiration to start writing. You need to write for inspiration to come. You don't need to feel ready to change. You need to change to feel ready. The difference between those who succeed and those who stay stuck isn't about who's smarter. It's about who acts sooner. Marcus Aurelius wrote powerfully in Meditations, "You don't want to get out of bed because it's cold. Were you born to stay warm or to act? Born to be a pampered creature or a human being?" This question isn't to shame, but to remind you of your purpose. You weren't born to wait for the perfect moment. You were born to create it through action. Every day you delay, you step back. Every day you wait for inspiration, you let opportunity slip. Every time you think one more loop without doing, you widen the gap between you and your better self. The scary thing is, procrastination doesn't come with a loud roar. It whispers reasonable excuses. It's not the right time. I'll do it later. I need a bit more preparation. These sound convincing but are self-deception, traps that keep you on the sofa of thought, never stepping into reality. Each time you give in to those whispers, you train a dangerous habit, thinking more than doing. When that becomes your nature, you lose the most precious thing, trust in yourself. When you act, you don't just create results. You create momentum, belief, identity. Every task you complete, however small, tells your subconscious you're reliable. You're someone who can be counted on. You don't just talk, you do. The deepest self-respect doesn't come from others' praise, but from knowing you're living with discipline, purpose, and commitment to yourself. That's a strength no one can take away. Where to start? With the closest, smallest, most meaningful action. Don't aim to finish a book. Write one page. Don't plan to run 5 kilometers. Put on your shoes and step outside. Don't wait for a perfect plan. Send that first email. Action is the bridge from thought to reality. Without it, all thinking is fantasy. With it, every limit can be broken. Stoics don't glorify impulsive action. They champion rational action. It doesn't need to be rushed but must be steady. Not loud but consistent. Not for show but real. Each day is a chance to do one right thing, however small. You'll be amazed when, after a month or a year, you look back and see how far those seemingly minor actions have taken you. If this section hits home with something you're putting off, like this video to mark the moment you choose action over overthinking, leave a comment saying, "I'm acting now," as a small but weighty commitment to yourself. And if you're ready to live a life not just of knowing but doing, not just dreaming but stepping forward, subscribe for the final part, where you'll tie together all the insights, actions, and awareness from this journey into a profound commitment to yourself. You've just traveled a long journey, not just through words, but through layers of thought, perspectives, and principles drawn from Stoic philosophy. But nothing will truly change unless you stand up and do something right after this video ends. You don't need to overhaul your life. You just need one small action, repeated daily, with an awake mind and a heart ready to take responsibility. Focus on yourself. Work hard. Clear your mind. Honor your time. Choose your companions wisely. Face discomfort. Protect your energy. Be alone to understand yourself. Train your mind like a warrior. And most importantly, act. These aren't just tips. They're a way of life. And you're the one who chooses to live this way, starting today, or let it remain just theory on a screen. If what I've shared resonates with you, like this video as a marker of your beginning. Comment, "I choose to live differently from today," as a commitment to yourself. And don't forget to subscribe to stay with the content that will keep guiding you on this journey to master your mind, emotions, and life. No one can do it for you, but I'll walk with you.